Okay. So 12th chapter, I will chant and you can repeat. Om अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः भक्तियोगः। अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तम् तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये माम् नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरम् अनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामम् सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः। क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् मय्येव मन आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवशिष्यसि मय्येव अथ ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः। अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि। अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम् ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् क्षान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखः सुखः क्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः सन्नियम्ये यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्षः सुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हर्षति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभः परित्यागी भक्तिमान् यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णः सुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः एतु धर्म्यामृतमिदम् यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। Harihi Om Tat Sat. Good. So the Gita is roughly split into three sections of 6 chapters each. Pratama Shatkam, Madhyama Shatkam, Antima Shatkam or Charama Shatkam. So the each of these 6 chapters have some focus. The first 6 chapters, the main focus is Jiva Tattva Karma Yoga. The second 6 chapters, the main focus is Ishvara Tattva and Bhakti Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. And the Charama Shatkam, there the main focus is Jiva Ishvara Aikyam and Jnana Yoga and also the Acharana, how to live life according to the Jnana, towards Jnana. So these how it is split. So the middle 6 chapters mainly focus on bhakti and dhyanam. Okay. So we have the of course the sixth chapter is dhyanam, which is more of nididhyasana, right? In the sixth chapter, and as I told you, like Gita is more like a hologram, right? Everything will be covered in every all over the place because it was a spontaneous dialogue. uh, the structure is something which roughly like we figure out later. The later acharyas have figured out, but there was not the intention of Vyasa or Krishna because it was a very spontaneous dialogue. So if you look at the middle 6 chapters, seventh chapter, you have the Jnana Vijnana Yoga, where it says uh, how to stick on to the permanent thing in this world, and using that we give up the impermanent one, right? Para and Apara. And then eighth chapter, Krishna says that the gati after death depends upon the last thought when the person passes away. And if you remember Bhagavan, if you remember God at the last moment, then you will reach the Lord. Now, to be able to remember the Lord at the last moment, you have to remember Him all through your life. Because at the last moment of death, your voluntary conscious control of the mind will not work. So, whatever is there in the subconscious is what will take over. At the last moment of death, you will not have full voluntary conscious control over your mind and thoughts. But then, whatever comes in your mind at that time is what is going to decide your gati. So, the only way to ensure that you remember the Lord at the last moment is to remember the Lord all through your life as much as possible, so that gets into the subconscious mind, and even at the last moment of life, you remember the Lord. So that is the kind of gist of the 8th chapter. 9th chapter, Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga. So it talks about like how to lead a life of bhakti combined with karma yoga sahita bhakti, and also looking upon this entire universe. Hmm. How to look upon this entire universe as the Lord Himself. And so that is kind of again a gist of the entire Bhakti Yoga Shastra of Gita. 10th chapter, like it talks about the Vibhuti Yoga, right? Like, so it is about the glories of the Lord, which help in developing our bhakti and which help in, which basically gives a lot of hints for like clues or like a lot of footholds or handholds for meditation. And then 11th chapter is Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshana, where Krishna gives an audio visual, view of the Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna, so that it becomes more stronger and easy to meditate. So basically, like the 10th and 11th chapters are Vibhuti Yoga and Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshana Yoga, mainly for helping in meditating upon the Lord. So that way it comes as a part of Bhakti Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. And then the 12th chapter, which we saw now, which is named as Bhakti Yoga itself, which basically addresses the question, can one be spiritual but not religious. That is what we saw, right? A few classes before, like we saw in the introduction to Gita. So where Arjuna asks the question, can I be spiritual but not religious? Krishna says, yes, it is possible, but it is very difficult for people who are got so much of body consciousness. So it is better to follow a religious life by which you prepare yourself, make yourself eligible or make yourself fit for a spiritual life. And the spiritual life is what is going to take you to the goal. So religious life is important as a preparation for spiritual life. Now, without spiritual life, a religious life is of no use. And without a religious life, spiritual life is almost impossible, very difficult. So combine both. So that is what Krishna says in the 12th chapter. And when you say, what do you mean by a spiritual religious life? So there Krishna said, Yetu karmani sarvani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyeneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Right? 6th and 7th shlokas in the 12th chapter we saw. Right? So basically, like you do your duties, offer them to the Lord as Lord, with the Lord as the goal, and ananyeneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Right? You meditate upon the Lord. So this way, right, Bhakti Yoga Sahita Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga Sahita Dhyana Yoga was what Krishna proposes. And the whole goal is to create this Maya Veshita Chetasam, a mind which is completely soaked in the Lord. So then the rest of this 12th chapter, he talks about what do you mean by meditation, how to meditate upon the Lord. There are five, six slokas, and after that he talks about karma yoga, how to do this, sarvani karmani mayi sannyasa, how to do. So that way, like the rest of the chapter is basically an explanation of the two lines of the 6th shloka is what the rest of the 12th chapter is like. So the first he talks about the second line, meditation, then he talks about the first line, which is karma yoga. So that way, like bhakti yoga. So this gives a very good picture about what is bhakti yoga according to Gita, right? So what is bhakti yoga according to Gita? It is basically bhakti yoga sahita karma yoga and bhakti yoga sahita dhyana yoga. So the 6th shloka in the 12th chapter summarizes very clearly what is bhakti yoga according to Bhagavad Gita, right? If you want to know just in one verse, this is what is the verse. And of course, this is a half verse. The verse continues here. So saying here, there's a very, very important word here, Mayi Aveshita Chetasam, right? So that is again summarizes Bhakti Yoga in one word, right? Fine. So, and then what is the phala? Here, the rest of the shloka talks about. So now this is the outline of Bhakti Yoga according to the Gita. So now what we will do is we will look at some selected shlokas and ideas, and so many of them are already like we would have covered. So we will whatever we have recently covered, we will kind of go fast, and whatever is some new shlokas, we will try to spend slightly more time. Okay. So let us look at it. Now, so what is bhakti? So bhakti, so in Gita, bhakti is Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti. Okay. So there is this individual bhakti, bhakti to individual devatas for individual specific results. Those things are there, but then overall, in general, bhakti means like you consider this entire universe as the Lord, and you serve the jivatmas as the manifestations of the Lord, and you serve the universal Lord, serve this world as God Himself, right? So, so when we consider ourselves as individuals in any context, considering ourselves as inseparable and totally dependent on the universe in the same context is called bhakti. So basically, like if I am going to take bath in Ganga, then Ganga Mata I worship as Ishvara, right? If I am going to start some work, I worship Ganesha as Ishvara. If I worship Ishvara as Ganesha, right? So if I am going to start some studies, then I worship Ishvara as Saraswati. So depending on the context, what I'm going to do and how I consider myself, I consider the corresponding universal concept as Ishvara. So if I am considering myself as an Indian citizen, then Bharat Mata becomes Ishvara, right? In that corresponding. So Bhakti to Bharat Mata is nothing but Bhakti to Ishvara only. So that way, patriotism is also Bhakti, right? That is what, according to the Gita, is. So if I consider myself as a living being on earth, then this Bhumi Mata, Vasundhara, Dharati Mata, and the sun god, right, Surya Devata, they become the representatives of Ishvara in that context, right? So, like this, everywhere I look at that, I am interacting, I am transacting with that universal Ishvara only through every action. And if I consider myself as the performer of action, as the karta, then Ishvara is the karma phala data. Right? So this is the whole idea. Now, with this idea of Ishvara, saying, oh, Ishvara is this whole thing, like, and I'm just one individual Jivatma, I'm completely under the control and under the grace of this Ishvara. Now, I feel the love and emotions, right? So, bhakti expresses itself as all the emotions and physical signs associated with that, just like in any human love also. So even in a human love, right, we have this these uh, emotional signs of physical signs of emotion, and the same physical signs of emotion you have towards the Lord in much more amplified way, in a much more bigger way, right? Like horriculation, choking, swollen chest, tears, right? So all these things, now we have all seen in the life of Sri Ram Krishna how, all these physical manifestations of bhakti were expressed, and the manifestations of bhakti in this way in Swami Vivekananda is not spoken of that much, but Vivekananda was equally deep in bhakti. His bhakti was such that when he went to Amarnath, right? He went to Amarnath shrine, and early morning, like actually in that whole party, Sister Nivedita, Josephine McLeod, they were there, but then he did not want to get them also. He didn't want to disturb them. So he woke up very early in the morning and just wearing a kaupina as a sannyasi, he went to the shrine. He went to the cave of Amarnath, and as he went up to the platform, and as he went in to the cave, when he had the first darshan of the Amarnath Shiva, he was so overcome by emotion looking at Amarnath Shivalinga that the blood vessels in Swami Vivekananda's eyes burst. The blood vessels in his eyes burst, and he had a kind of a heart attack, and he collapsed, and then he was actually carried down out of the cave down. Like, now that is bhakti. That is the level of bhakti Swami Vivekananda can go to when he looks at the Amarnath Shivalinga. It happened. Now, so it is not only that Sri Ram Krishna feels those things. Sri Ram Krishna, of course, like is very explicit, open, and but Vivekananda, like though mostly we see manifestations of jnana and other things, but then bhakti was very, very deep in Swami Vivekananda. And so this is bhakti. And so we saw that Ishvara is multiple, three aspects of Ishvara. So one is Ishvara as the pure consciousness residing in the self, in the heart of all living beings, right? So Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Ashaya Stitaha, right? I am the pure consciousness residing in the heart of all living beings. This particular uh, concept comes so many places in the Gita, right? Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Iswara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. So like this, there are so many places where the Lord says that He is the self residing in the heart of all beings. Right? So now this, so serving human beings, serving living beings is service to God. Right? So that is one of the core ideas. Shiva Jnane Jiva Sheva. Right? Swami Vivekananda keeps saying that, and he's implemented it practically. So that idea, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva, is from Bhagavad Gita. Right? There are multiple verses which talk about the Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Right? Like, for example, the last verse in the 11th chapter, and then this Ananya Chintayanto Mam. So there are several shlokas in the Gita which basically talk about Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. And that is one of the core ideas of bhakti in the Gita. And also, like, the Lord is the beginning, middle, and end of all beings. So the Lord is not only the consciousness, He is also the material cause of this universe. Ahamadischa madhyam cha bhutanam antayeva cha. This idea also comes in Gita in multiple shlokas, right? Yatah pravritir bhutanam eva sarvamidam tatam. So like that, like a lot of places, this idea also comes. So first idea is God is the consciousness in all living beings. Second idea is God is the material cause of this universe. So whatever we see is nothing but the Lord Himself, right? So in the 11th and 12th chapters, He says, Punyo Gandha Prithvivyam cha, right? Like, so I am the thing, I am the smell. Whenever you smell something, He says, I am that smell which you are smelling, right? You are smelling me only. Like, suppose there's a beautiful flower, and we get this fragrance of that flower. Now we are actually smelling God. And suppose we are standing and wind is blowing, we are feeling the wind on our skin. It is actually, the Lord's touch that we are feeling, right? That's what Bharadiyar's song is there, right? Kalkai Chiranile Nantalala, then Karinaram Tundudiri Nantalala, right? And in that, Bharadiyar also says, like, when the wind touches my skin, I'm feeling your touch, O Lord, he says. And that verse, that idea is from the Gita. And the Gita says, like, I am the taste in water. So anytime you taste anything, you are actually tasting God Himself. So whatever you see, whatever you hear, right? We see in the Narayana Suktam, right? Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva, right? Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva. Whatever in this world you are seeing or hearing, that is Narayana only, right? So that is the idea in the Gita. So there is nothing in this universe other than God. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you touch, whatever you smell, whatever you taste, it is all the Lord Himself, right? So that it's all transaction with the Lord Himself. So that is the idea which we have. And the Lord is also personal, right? We saw this shloka, Bhoktaram Yagnitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Nyatva Shantim Richati. So whatever, like, the Lord is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, and compassionate. And any prayer, if whenever we do prayer, that prayer indicates that the prayed entity has these three qualities. Otherwise, we will not even pray, right? Whenever we do a prayer, suppose let us say we keep the image of Panduranga, and then we go down to Panduranga saying, "Oh Panduranga, please give me the right understanding, right? Give me strength." We are worshipping Panduranga. We assume, the assumptions are, first is Panduranga knows that we are praying him, right? Second thing is Panduranga is capable of giving us the answering our prayer. And third is Panduranga will answer our prayer out of his compassion and grace. So this omniscience, omnipotence, and compassion is assumed in every prayer, whatever we pray. And there can be only one such entity who is omniscient, omnipotent, and compassionate. So there is only one God to whom all the prayers go, right? And also, the Lord incarnates in the world occasionally and whenever needed. so that he re-establishes the faith. Right? This is a very famous shloka which we all know. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanama dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So one question comes is, when there is law of karma, which will by which everyone will get whatever they deserve, why should the Lord come? Like, isn't law of karma sufficient? Right? This is one of the questions. In fact, this is one of the questions like which the Purvamimamsakas ask, right? Because for them there is no Ishvara, it is only the law. Law of karma can self manage, right? That is what even Buddhists and Purvamimamsakas believe, right? That law of karma can self manage. Ishvara is not needed. That is their idea. But then in the Gita, Krishna tells very clearly, yes, law of karma is there, but I am needed as the Lord is needed, Ishvara is needed to manage the law of karma. Why? We see it even in our regular courts, right? So people have all kinds of desires. One mother will have one son, and she will have desire that her son should be a doctor, he should be an engineer, he should be a lawyer, he should be a IAS officer, he should be this, that, everything. Now, how can one son be all these things? But the mother has got strong desire, and she has prayed to the Lord, worshipped the Lord, did vratas for everything, right? Just like Panchali, which we in her previous birth we see in Mahabharata. So now what happens when one person, one mother, does such contradictory prayers? Then automatically, the person has to take multiple births, so that in one son, her son is an engineer, another birth, her son is a doctor, another birth, her son is a IAS officer, that way, right? So that is how nature will work out, because finally whatever prayers that a mother has prayed, it should come, it should get effect. But only thing is, maybe not everything in this birth. So by prayer, ultimately the mother has created more births for herself, right? That is unfortunate. Anyway, so also we have conflicting desires within ourselves, and because of that, not every karma can fructify at one time. So, which means there's a huge backlog, and often an ignorant person, or even like most of the people, create more karma. The rate of creation of karma is more than the rate of burning karmas. So even when the rate of creation of karmas is more than the rate of burning karmas, then it keeps accumulating. Sanchita karma keeps increasing. So because of that, what happens is you are not able to find a correlation between the cause and the effect. So that is why people say, "Oh, why did this happen to me? I didn't do anything wrong." Right? So because like there's a huge backlog, that what has fructified is different from what was immediately done. So when such things become too much, then people start losing their faith in the law of karma, because they are not able to connect the dots. So when you are not able to connect the dots between the cause and effect, then your very faith in the cause and effect system becomes at stake. Now that is the cause of adharma, and that is what the Lord comes to fix. So the Lord comes to fix adharma. Why is there decline of dharma? Because people are not able to connect the dots between the cause and effect. Now, why are people not able to connect the dots? Because of huge amount of sanchita karma, people are not able to connect the dots, and people lose faith in dharma itself. So the Lord comes to re-establish the faith in dharma by clearing off most of this backlog in one shot, right? So we have all these special courts to fast track some special cases, those kind of things, right? So law of karma or incarnation is something like that. Suppose there is a Ravana who has done huge amount of bad things, that it is, if he has to clear them off birth after birth after birth, it will take so many births, and people will lose, and there is so much of conflicting desires and conflicting karma, that he deserves so much, but also he has done so much bad. He has done so much of good, but also he has done so much of bad. So when such a like special cases come, then there is a fast track special court which has to be established, right? Suppose, let us say, for example, in our country only, like there was this attack on the parliament. 13th December, there was an attack on the parliament where the security agencies, they were able to nab some terrorists and some people, and then they had finally booked a case on that. Now, if you go take it through the normal court process and normal thing, it will take some 20 years for all the evidences to be collected, witnesses to be done, and everything. So till then, now for 20 years, if you take to for such a you know a case which is very important of national importance and which is there in the limelight, if it becomes delayed too much, then people will lose faith in the legal system itself. So what does the court do? They establish one special court. They will form one panel of judges and they'll create a special court with a special process and everything, so that it becomes fast tracked and they can close it in 2 3 years within the people's memory, so that people have the memory. Oh, this is what happened, and this is what people who are these are the people who committed this crime, and this is the justice. This is the justice given to them. So this special track court is established for these kind of special cases, and the legal system clears them at a fast track. Now that is what is the incarnation is about. So when there are some special cases like Ravana, Kamsha, right, or Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, these are all these kind of special case terrorists, and which need some special fast track. So the Lord Himself comes and He clears it, right? But still, finally, whatever justice is given is according to the constitution, right? According to the law of karma only, the Lord also gives the verdict, but then, right, it is taken up as a special case. That is what is the cause of incarnation. By this incarnation, huge amounts of backlog of karma is cleared off in very short period of time, and by that, people also get the faith in dharma re-established. So that is what is meant by dharma samsthapanarthaya, right? So the Lord, when He comes, like, so paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So these are all the various purposes of the incarnation, and we can see whenever there is an incarnation like Rama, Krishna, whenever they are there, a huge legacy which they leave behind, right? They leave behind names, right? So many mantras, right? Om Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, right? Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So many, like the name itself is a big legacy of the Lord, the form of the Lord, the story of the Lord, festivals, pilgrimages, spiritual path, teachings, spiritual lineage. So many legacy, so much of legacy is left behind by the incarnation of the Lord. And the more legacy they leave, the more grander the incarnation is. Right? So we have Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Gita, right? Like Aditya Hridayam. So many legacy of the incarnations which are left behind, and they rejuvenate the entire spiritual path, right? A lot. So this is how the incarnations come. So this is the other aspect of God, right? So we saw God as pure consciousness, then we saw God as the material cause of this universe, and then we saw God as the personal form of God, right? Omniscient, omnipotent, and compassionate. And then this is another aspect of God, which is the incarnation of Lord Vibhava Avatara, we call in the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Now, there are 4 types of devotees, which is defined in the 7th chapter, right? Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritino arjuna artho jignyasurartharti jnani cha bharatashrava, right? So there are 4 types of devotees, right? And they're all virtuous people, and they are the artha, they're the distressed people, then artharthi, people who seek enjoyment, then jignasu, people who seek knowledge, and the jnani, the wise people. So now the basic thing is, it is not wrong to seek the Lord for worldly benefits. It is okay, right? It is okay. It is not wrong to seek the Lord for worldly benefits. So it is a part of the spiritual development, right? So from Artha and Artharthi to Jignasu to Jnani, the person has to develop gradually. Now, this is very much like, the children. Suppose, let us say uh, there's a 5-year-old or 10-year-old child. You ask the child, "Do you love your parents?" The child will say, "Yes, yes, I love my papa and mama a lot." So now you ask the child, "Why do you love your parents?" Now the child will say, like, "My papa and mama buy me new clothes, they buy me my favorite food, they take me out for ice cream, they bought me a cycle, and all kinds of this." The child will tell. And when I fall sick, they take care of me and all that. So this is exactly Artha and Artharthi Bhakta, right? My parents take care of me when I run into problems. They give me what I want, and they take care of me, my security, my pleasure. They take care. Now, this is the Artha and Artharthi stage of Bhakti. Now, the same child, if you ask a teenager, right? Let's suppose the child is some 18 or 20 years old. You ask the child, "Do you love your papa? Do you love your father?" The child will say, "Yes, yes, yes, I love my father a lot." "Why do you love your father?" you ask. The child will say, "Oh, my father is brilliant. He is so nice. He is so efficient in doing all the work. He takes care of everything in the household so nice. Like, even my mother is also so brilliant. She cooks so well." And, the child has grown up, that the child has started appreciating the characters of the father and mother. So the Artha and Artharthi, the child appreciated what benefits she gets from the parents. Now in Jignasu state, the child appreciates not doesn't worry about the benefits, but the child appreciates the character of the parents. "Oh, my mother is so nice. My mother is so efficient. She cooks so well. My father works so well. He can repair everything. He knows so many things. My mother knows so many things. She's so good in talking to people. She has got so many friends. She's so charitable." The Jignasu state, the child appreciates the good qualities of the parents, and because of that, the child says she loves the parents. Right? Now, if you same child, let us say that the child has grown up to 40 years, 50 years old. So you say, let us say there is a 50-year-old person. And obviously, the parents are some 80 years or so old. Now, if you ask the 50-year-old guy, "Why do you love your parents?" Now, what will he answer? He will say, "Because they are my parents. That's it. I love my parents because they are my parents." Right? Now, if the 50-year-old guy says, "I love my parents because they have got a good bank balance, because they have got so much of properties which I will inherit when they pop off, right? Because they did so much things, because my father, my mother during their youth, they were so accomplished." If you give such reasons, then people will consider, say, what sort of a lowly guy he is. He's such a self-centered, selfish guy. Right? Now, the same answer was fine for a 5-year-old child, for a 10-year-old child, for even a teenager. When the 5-year-old child said, "I love my parents because they give me this, they give me that, they take care of me," and all that, we never consider that as wrong. But if a 50-year-old man says, "I love my parents because they have got so much of wealth, because they have got so much of bank balance which I will inherit, or which they have given me," then we say, like, what kind of a bad guy he is. So maturity is natural; it has to happen, right? So a 50-year-old person will take care of his parents, even if the parents were on the invalid, on the bed. The parents will have, even a lot of cases these days, we see the parents have lost their memory also, right? So the parents have lost their memory. The parents have lost their capability of even getting up and going for a toilet. But still, the children, the 50-year-old children, they serve the parents, right, with so much of care and attention. And the parents have lost the memory, means the parents even don't know that this is their son. In most cases, the parents don't even know that this is my son who is serving me. They don't even have that amount of memory. But still the child, still this boy serves those parents. Now that is the Jnani Bhakti, right? Absolutely not expecting anything in return. You serve. You serve the Lord without expecting anything, right? Now that is expected of the children, right, to serve their parents in their old age. Similarly, even in Bhakti, these three stages we can very clearly see exactly the same three stages as we see in child towards the parents, right? Artha, Artharthi initially, right? And then Jignasu, and then Jnani. Now, one difference here is that in case of the parents also get old along with the maturity of the child. The parents also get old and they become invalid over a period of time. But in case of bhakti, the bhakta matures, but Ishvara doesn't become invalid like the parents. Ishvara is still all capable, right? So when the bhakta matures, the same Ishvara who is brilliant, who is capable, and who is able to do everything, who runs this universe, but for this bhakta, he has so much of matured that he ignores these aspects of Ishvara, and then he worships Ishvara just for the sake of Ishvara. Love for love's sake. Right? Now that is the Jnani Bhakti. Right? The Ishvara is still capable. But then, and also another thing is because of this unique situation where the Ishvara is still capable, the bhakta can freely move even down also. So even a jnani bhakta can even go down and say, okay, like fine, when there is a problem, I will even worship the Ishvara and say, oh, oh Lord, please help me. That is also okay, right? So, but predominantly the jnani will be here with love for love's sake, right? So if you can understand this very clearly, if you consider the relationship between the children and parents over a period of 50, 60 years, how it gradually changes. Right? So the same idea is there, and this Lord, who is omniscient, omnipotent, and compassionate, can be worshipped through any way. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitum ichchati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. The Lord says, whichever devotee wants to worship me through whichever form, right, through whichever ritual, doesn't matter, right? I make that very faith unwavering by responding to the worship, right? So the Lord is omniscient. So he knows that you are worshiping him and he is compassionate. So he will respond back, right? So if you say, Lord will not respond back unless I do this kind of worship or unless I call God by this name or that name, then you are actually challenging the Lord's omniscience, omnipotence, and compassionate nature. So that is a blasphemy. Saying that you can worship Lord only like this, but not like that. Or saying that God will respond back only if you worship like this, but not if you worship like that. Or if you say that if you worship like this only, by this name only, then God will take you to heaven. But if you worship God through any other name or form, then God will put you to hell. Now, these are all blasphemy against God. These challenge the compassionate omniscience and omnipotence of God Himself. So these are all illogical. So Gita is very, very clear. Gita says, through whichever way, through whichever name, form or ritual, form or formless, like you worship, the Lord will respond back. Right? There is only one God, and that one supreme being will respond back. Sri Ramakrishna puts in a very nice way. He says, just like water is called as jal, aap, pani, right? Aqua. So different people in different languages call it using different names. But that does not change the water. All of them are referring to the same water. Similarly, by whatever name you call, you are calling upon the same one universal being. Call us Lakshmi, Saraswati, Ganesha, Anjaneya, right? Shiva, Vishnu, or Jesus, Allah, whatever. call by whatever name, right? The worshipped entity is only one, right? That is very clearly given in the Gita. And also, Gita gives hope for everyone. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. Right? And the next shloka says, Kipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. So what this shloka says is, even if a person with a bad behavior, see the word itself is so beautiful. So when it comes to good person, he says sadhu. Okay. But when it comes to bad person, it says suduracharaha, a person with bad behavior, right? So we don't brand people as bad. Such a positive psychology we have, right? We never say this person is bad. We always say people are good. Just that their behavior is bad. Suduracharaha, right? Durachara, achara means behavior. Durachara means bad behavior or evil behavior. Sudurachara means very, very bad and evil behavior. So we always blame the behavior, not the person. The person is a sadhu. The person is a sadhu, but because of some misunderstanding, his behavior is bad. Sudurachara, right? So, apichet sudurachara, like even a person with evil and bad behavior worships me with one-pointed devotion, right? Right? So Ananya Bhak, right? So with one pointed devotion, if a person worships, then the Lord says he must be regarded as a noble person because he's taken the right resolution, right? Samyak Vyavasito Hisaha. His resolution is correct, right? And his direction is correct. Once the direction is set, eventually it's just a matter of time that person will reach the destination. Because wherever he is, once you get into the correct bus, wherever you are, right? So suppose let us say you want to go to Delhi. Now you might be in Shimla, you might be in Uttarakhand, you might be in Himachal Pradesh, you might be in Punjab, you might be in Bihar, you might be in Madhya Pradesh. But the moment you have got into a bus which goes to Delhi, it's just a matter of time that you will reach Delhi, right? Wherever you are, moment you have the samyak vyavasito hi saha, right? The correct resolution if you have got into the right bus, then you will reach the destination. Just it's a matter of time. So that is what this one says, right? So even whatever person has done in the past, right, doesn't matter. If he says from now on, I will go into the right direction. Now, what is the right direction? Etu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya madparaha ananyeneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Those two lines is the correct direction. Okay. Looking upon this entire universe as the Lord, I will serve in this world, and meditation, right? These are the two things, right? So meditation, the easiest way of meditation is Nama Sankirtan. Start with Nama Sankirtan, right? Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Keep chanting this Maha Mantra again and again and again and again and again. Over a period of time, sab ठीक हो जाएगा, right? Just chant the Maha Mantra, right? Loudly, mentally, as much as possible, 24/7, right? Keep chanting. And second thing is, look upon this entire universe as nothing but the Lord Himself, right? Everything that you get is a gift from God, and everything that you do is a gift to God. Just these two are needed. Just two things. One is Karma Yoga, the second one is Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga, the easiest way to start Dhyana Yoga is by Sankirtan, Nama Sankirtan. And Karma Yoga is by looking upon this Vishwarupa Ishvara. This Vishwa is Ishvara. And so this Vishwarupa Darshana and Nama Sankirtan, just stick on to these two. Everything else will fall into place over a period of time. This is all that is Bhakti according to Gita, right? Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshana and Nama Sankirtan, right? And everything will become fine. So Anytime anyone asks you, what should I do? Just you give them only these two. Look upon this entire universe is nothing but Ishvara himself. It is God who has become this entire universe. Always keep that in mind in all your transactions with this world. In all your transactions with this world, remember that it is God alone. And second is keep doing Nama Sankirtan 24 bar 7 as much as possible. Maximum. More you do, better. Right? These are the only two instructions. These are the teachings of the Gita that you can give to anyone. If anyone asks you, what does Gita say? What should I do? Simple, just these two. Right? Feel free, keep telling. That is what he says. Right? Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigachati. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. So he will soon become noble and attain peace. And Arjuna, here by saying Arjuna, he talks to all of us. He says, declare to the world, my devotees are never destroyed. Right? Kaunteya, we are all Kaunteyas. Right? Kaunteya pratijanihi. Go and declare to this world, Name bhaktah pranashyati. My devotee never perishes. Right? So, just these two. Right? So, just two aspects. Right? Working in the world by seeing the world and living beings as non-different from God, and engaging in devotional practices like meditation, chanting, singing, right? These are the only two things needed. And this is Bhakti Yoga according to the Gita, right? 2 points. Just Bhakti Yoga Sahita Karma Yoga. So all of us are being pushed by Krishna to go and declare to the world, Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Follow these two and Lord will take care, right? And here, actually, like the Vaishnava Sampradaya, we go one more step, saying that not only the devotees of the Lord, even the devotees of the Lord also will be saved. Right? In Ramayana, when Vibhishana comes for Sharanagati, four other of his ministers also came. And when Vibhishana came, then Sugriva came and reported, saying that Vibhishana has come. What should we do? Then everyone gave different opinions, and finally Rama said, Sakriteva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayate, right? Abhayam Sarvabhuteshu Dadami Yatat Pratam Mama. He says, like, whoever comes to me saying Tavasmi, I am yours. Tava Asmi, right? I am yours. So this is one word you remember. Whenever you pray to the Lord, this is the one word which you use when praying to the Lord. Tavasmi. O Lord, I belong to you. O Lord, I bow down to you. Right? O Lord, I am yours. Right? I am yours. I am yours. Tavasmi. Tavasmi. That is the only prayer you need to give. Right? Tavasmi. So Krishna, Rama says, so he says, Sakriteva Prapannaya Tavasmi Iticha Yachate. Even once in life, if a person wholeheartedly has mentioned this word, O Lord, I am yours, Tavasmi, and you have given up yourself to the Lord. Then he says, I will take care of the person, and he says, that is my vrata. Right? Etat vratam mama. So in Vishnu Sahasranama, one of the namas for the Lord is Suvrataya Namaha. One who has got the Suvrata. Now, what is the Vrata for the Lord? Right? Vishnu even has a Vrata. Right? Even Vishnu has Tapasya, his austerity. Now, what is Vrata for Vishnu? So Shankaracharya in his commentary to that Suvrataya Namaha Nama, he mentions this Ramayana shloka and says, this is the Lord's vrata, right? Protection of the people who have come and mentioned this word, Tavasmi, right? I belong to you. Whichever language you are comfortable with in your own mother tongue, you tell this word, oh Lord, I belong to you, right? And wholeheartedly, if you tell even once, then the Lord takes care of you. The Lord has given this promise. And here, like, the commentators for this shloka, they go one more step and say Even the devotees of the devotees are taken care of, because all this discussion happened for Vibhishana. And then Vibhishana was taken in to the as refuge to into the Rama's fold. Now, regarding the other four ministers who just came along with Vibhishana, no inquiry, not even seeing who are they, what is their name, nothing. They came with Vibhishana, so they are taken in automatically. So the devotees are also saved automatically without any inquiry, right? So that is the beautiful idea here. So, uh, so I learned Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas from Sri Krishna Premi Maharaj. So Krishna Premi Maharaj puts this in a very, very nice way. So he says, Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, Kaunteya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. So tell this world that my devotees will not will be taken care of, right? So Arjuna gets up and then says, "Oh world, everyone, listen! The Lord's devotees will not get destroyed." Right? And then Krishna says, "Stop, stop! I told my devotees, not Krishna's devotees, not the Lord's devotees. Say my devotees, Arjuna's devotees." So this Name Bhakta Pranashyati, this may, right? This my devotees, this may, normally we take it as meaning Krishna or the Lord's devotees. But then the Vaishnava Sampradaya, we say this may also means Arjuna. Kaunteya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. This may can be Arjuna's devotees, which means like the devotees also don't perish. They are taken care of, right? So this is a very beautiful idea here. And then Shiva Jnane Jiva Sheva, right? Krishna, the one interpretation of this 9th chapter, 22nd shloka, right, is Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yejanav Pariyupasate, Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yoga Kshema Mahamyaham, is for the people who take care of the welfare of all the living beings, and because of that, they are not even concerned about their own welfare. To those people, the Lord will take care. Right? There's a very beautiful proverb in Tamil. Ooran Pillaye Utti Valartal Tan Pillai Tanaha Valarum. So if you take care of the neighbor's children or the orphanages, like the Anatha children, if you take care of the neighbor's children and the underprivileged children, your children will be taken care of by the Lord. Right? If you take care of the underprivileged children, your children will be taken care of by the Lord Himself. Uran Bille, Uti Valartal, Tan Bille, Tana Valarum. There is one beautiful proverb. And that is exactly what this shloka talks about. And you see the Lord everywhere, right? So again, Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshana, we'll skip that. So this is kind of roughly, this is what bhakti in the Gita means. And before getting into questions, I will tell you there is one story which very well reflects bhakti according to the Gita. And that is the story of Namadev. So you all know this Pandharpur has got a lot of devotees, and the Lord has played with the devotees of Pandharpur so well, so much. And so one of the devotees was Namdev. So Namdev was a small boy, and his father was the priest in the Pandharpur temple. And one day, and this boy had been accompanying his father, and he has been accompanying his father throughout the whenever he was doing puja, and he has seen that his father was offering Naivedya, and during the Naivedya, they will close the screen. So, and at that time, looking at and inside Naivedya is given, and after the Naivedya is over, his father would be opening the screen and then distributing prasada to everyone. So now this boy did not know what was happening behind the screen when Naivedya was given. So one day his father was traveling, so his father asked this boy to do the puja, and he did the puja exactly as his father used to do. And when Naivedya time came, he has not seen his father doing Naivedya because it was done behind the screen. So he kept the food in front of the Lord and said, "Oh Lord, eat." And nothing happened. And so he thought the Lord will come and eat because he has never seen that part. So he thought the Lord will come and eat. So he was waiting, and the Lord, nothing happened, right? So then this boy said, "Oh Lord, oh Pandrinatha, Panduranga, if you don't eat, then my father will think I didn't do puja properly for you, and he will beat me. And please come and eat the food. Otherwise, my father will scold me, he will beat me. Please eat the food." And then nothing happened still. And this child started crying, and he started hitting his head on the feet of Panduranga, saying, "Why Panduranga, Panduranga, eat, eat, come. What did I do? Did I do any mistake in my puja? Why are you not coming? If I made any mistake, please excuse me, right? And don't get me scoldings from my father. Please come, 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 come." He was crying, and ultimately the Lord could not hold, so he came. He came, and the child gave everything, all the entire Nevedya to Panduranga. Panduranga also ate fully. And Panduranga also said, like, you also eat, and he gave one mouth to Namdev also. And he also had a small child, right? And then after some time, like, people were outside, they were waiting. Like for Nevedya, screen is put, and no one knew what was happening inside. So they were all waiting for Prasada. Prasada will come, Prasada will come. But nothing happened. Then finally, like, the screen was opened, and Panduranga, and then Namdev came out. Then everyone said, "Hey, Prasad, Prasad, we want." Then he said, like, "Panduranga ate it." And then they say, "Hey, you sat inside and you ate it. See, I can see it in your mouth. And you are telling Panduranga ate it." Then he said, "No, no, no, Panduranga ate. He just gave some small piece to me in my mouth." And obviously, people did not believe it. And everyone said, "Okay, like, anyway, small child, doesn't matter." They also said, "Okay, small child, he ate the prasada, no problem." And people all dispersed, and he went home. And after he went home, then that night his father came back from his travel, and then he heard from the neighbors that this is what happened. But this father had a faith in Namdev that this child will not tell lie. Father had so much of faith in the 5-year-old child that my son will not tell a lie. So he asked Namdev, "Namdev, you tell me what happened." And Namdev told fully. See, Naivedya, I was keeping. I asked the Lord to come and eat. He did not come. Then I cried. Then I, like, hit my head on his feet, and I cried. And then he came, and then he was like this. He had Makara Kuntala, and he had this thing. He was like this. He was like this. He described the Lord, and then he said he ate it, and he also gave me one piece in my mouth. And this is what happened, Father. And the people are blaming like this. Then his father said, like, "Don't worry. Like, I believe you, and today you give. I also want to see." And so next day his father was there, but then his father said, "Ask Namdev, you just like yesterday, whatever you did puja, you do the puja today. I will watch." And he was seeing, and he was doing the puja. And when the time came for the Naivedya, again Namdev said, "Oh Lord, come and eat." He didn't come first. Then he said, like, "No, no, please come. So they see my father is watching. Now, if you don't come, then he will think I told lie yesterday. So please come." Then finally the Lord came. But the Lord was not visible to his father. Lord was visible only to Namdev. Then again Namdev said, like, see, if you don't show to my father, then again he will think I'm telling a lie. Then Panduranga smilingly said, "Okay, fine, your father also will be able to see." Then Namdev said, like, not only my father, everyone, all my mother also should be able to see. Fine. So this entire Namadev, because of his devotion, he created a bond between Pandrinatha and his entire family. So Panduranga became a household person in this family. Panduranga will come and he'll be playing with Namdev throughout the day. And then his mother would have cooked food. Then she will call. Then both of them will come. Both of them will sit. Panduranga and Namdev, they will sit and they will eat. And they'll go to play again. So all through the day, like Panduranga was a like very close friend to Namdev. And he was his father, mother could see Panduranga, and then like he was just like a household person. And over a period of time, when Namdev grew up and Namdev got married, his wife also was able to see Panduranga, and Namdev's wife and Rukmini, they both became close friends. And as usual, any wives of friends, Rukmini used to complain to Namdev's wife how what all happens in her household and how Panduranga behaves in the house and how he's creating trouble and making her life difficult. And Namdev's wife used to tell Rukmini how this Namdev is behaving in the house and how he is making her life difficult. That's what all wives talk when they meet. And same thing used to happen between Rukmini Devi and Namdev's wife. This is how their household was going. Now, at this time, there was one Bhakta Sammelan in Jnanadev's house. So, Jnanadev, they were all contemporaries. So, Jnanadeva, his elder brother Sopanadeva, and his younger sister Muktabai. So, they were there and they had kept a Bhakta Sammelan, and the Bhakta Sammelan was held in Gorakumba's house. Gorakumba was a potter. He was another devotee of Panduranga. Now, in Gorakumba's house, all the devotees, they assembled together and they were singing bhajans. And Muktabai was just a 5-year-old child at that time. And so it was in Gorakumba's house, and in Gorakumba had one stick. Now, that stick is used to see if the pot is baked or not. So what the potter will do is they will make the pot out of clay and then keep it in the fire, that in the huge fire where the pot will be baked. And once they have taken, after the fire is settled, they'll take the pots and with that stick, they'll kind of hit the pot. If a sharp sound ting ting comes, it means the pot is properly baked. If a flat sound duk duk comes, then that pot is not baked properly. So it has to be put again into the kiln for further firing. So that stick was there. So now Muktabai took that stick and asked Gorakumba, like, what is this stick for? And Gorakumba explained how the stick is used and how it can be used to check whether a pot is baked or not baked, pakka or kacha. And so the 4-year-old Muktabai took that stick, and all this huge Bhakti Sammelan is there, and including Namdev, Sopandev, Ravidas, like all the great Panduranga devotees are all there, all contemporaries. And Namdev also was there along with that. And Muktabai, with this stick, she started hitting the head of each person, 4-year-old child, but of course she's a divine child. And because she is a child and she's also a great devotee of Panduranga, everyone took it sportively and everyone bent down, just as how we bent down to get the chadari, right? Like if you go to a Sri Vaishnava temple, they will have this chadari where Namalwar's feet is there. So Namalwar's feet is kept on our head as a blessing of the Lord. So like that, how they keep chadari on the head, right? Like when we go to a Vishnu temple, similarly, everyone bowed down, and Muktabai, with their stick, she made a small tap on the head, and she will say, this pot is pakka. And she'll go to the next person. That person also will bow down. She will say, this pot is pakka. She was doing this one after the other for all these great devotees. They were all Mukta Purushas. They are all great devotees of Panduranga. And among them was Namdev also. Namdev was very proud that his entire family is a great close friend of Panduranga, and they converse with Panduranga on everyday basis. Namdev was proud. And he was annoyed that what is this? I am such a close friend of Panduranga, and this 5-year-old girl is hitting on the head with this stick. So when Namdev's turn came, like others are all they bow down with reverence, and when he did not bow down, he just said like go. And Muktabai, she said, this pot is kacha. This pot is not baked. And she carried on. And everyone laughed immediately. Everyone burst into a laughter when Muktabai said, this pot is not baked, it is kacha. And everyone laughed. And Namdev became very angry. He became very hurt, very upset. He immediately got up and he went to the Pandharpur temple. He went before Panduranga and said, Panduranga, I was insulted. Then Panduranga asked, like, as if nothing, as if he did not know what happened. He is like, hey, Namdev, what happened? Why are you so sad? Why are you? Then he said, you know what happened in that Bhakti Sammela? Yeah, it is still going on. Why are you here? Why did you come here? He's like, no, that Mukta Bai, oh, yeah, that small girl, nice girl, sweet girl, very devoted. Yeah. She insulted me. And then Panduranga said, hey, how can a 5-year-old child insult you? Then he said, like, no, she insulted me. She called me Kacha. Then what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, so then again, Namdev told like fully like how the stick was used to test the pot and how all the other devotees, they were declared as Pakka by Muktabai and how he alone was declared as Kacha and how everyone laughed. Then Panduranga said, yeah, she told the truth only. Then immediately Namdev started crying even more. He said, like, what do you mean? I thought you are the only one who is my friend. You are also saying I am Kacha? Panduranga said, yes, see, you are Kacha. That is why she told. What she told was correct. And then Namdev understood, okay, so something is wrong with me. When Panduranga himself says that I am Kacha, then now he forgot about Muktabai, everything. He said, okay, Panduranga, tell me what I should do. I want to become Pakka. Tell me what I should do. Then Panduranga said, okay, fine. I will tell you what to do. Now, in Pandharpur, there is one Mallikarjuna temple. He said, there is one Vithoba in Mallikarjuna temple, Shiva temple. You go there and you be his disciple. You learn from him. Tell him that I sent you. And so he said, why should I go to a Shiva temple? Why you are there? I like Pandharpur, Panduranga. You only tell me, or you send me to some Panduranga devotee, send me to some devotee of you. Why are you sending me to one Shiva devotee in Mallikarjuna temple? Then Panduranga said, no, he is the right person who can make you as Pakka. You go there. And Namdev went there. And when he entered the temple, he found like the whole temple was empty. Then he said, is anyone there? And then from one of the shrines, the sound came, yeah, I'm here. And then he went in. He saw a old man lying in the Garbhagriha on the floor with his leg on top of the Shivalinga. The Shivalinga was there, and on top of the Shivalinga, his leg was there. And even though Namdev was a devotee of Panduranga, still he said, like, what is this? On Shivalinga, you have put your leg. Apachara you are doing. Who are you? Like, get out of this temple. Then he said, like, but who are you to like, ask me to go out of the temple? I've been living here only. Then he said, like, see, this is what you are doing is wrong. You should remove your leg. And then this person said, like, see, I am very old and my blood circulation in my leg is not good. I have to keep my leg at a higher position so that the blood flows down back into my heart. Otherwise, my legs will become swollen, and I have to keep my legs at some higher position. That is why I have kept like. He said, like, fine, you keep, but why should you keep? But Shivalinga is not the place to keep your leg on. You should keep your leg somewhere else where there is no Shivalinga. Then he said, okay, fine. I am very old. I cannot move my leg. You only take my leg and put it wherever you want. And Namdev became very angry. But then he went, caught hold of the leg of Vitoba, and then he pushed it and aside and kept it at the side. And the moment that leg touched the ground, one more Shivalinga arose from the ground, and Vitoba's leg was again on the Shivalinga. And Namdev could not believe his eyes. He immediately grabbed that leg and put it somewhere else. And again from there, another Shivalinga came. And wherever he put the leg, one Shivalinga came. And then he realized, he's like, who are you? What is your name? He said, I am Vitoba. Then immediately, already he has caught the leg of the Guru, right? He has already caught hold of the leg of Vitoba, right? So already Diksha is over, Sparsha Diksha is over, and the instruction is given. So immediately he fell at his feet and said, like, see, this is what happened. And Vitoba said, like, I know what happened. Panduranga sent you here. Muktabai called you as Kacha. Yes, that is correct. And Panduranga also confirmed it. Yes. So now Vitoba told, you see, where will you put my leg where there is no Shivalinga? Where there is Ishvara is not there. Ishvara is there everywhere. Now, he is everywhere. Now, how can I put my leg at a place where he is not there? Now, this was a new teaching for Namdev. So Namdev, so far, he had been worshipping Panduranga. He had been with a friend of Panduranga, moving around with Panduranga throughout the day. So, but then it was Eka Rupa Ishvara Bhakti. His bhakti was towards Panduranga. But then now Vitoba gave him the instruction of Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti, that the Lord is not only Panduranga or not only Shiva, and the Lord is not only present in the Vigraha of Panduranga or in the Shivalinga, the Lord is everywhere. The Lord is, this entire universe is nothing but the Lord. Now, this teaching was given to Namdev by Vitoba in the Mallikarjuna temple. And when he got this teaching, he considered Vitoba as his guru, as Panduranga has sent this guru to him. And Namdev continued living in the Mallikarjuna temple itself. He completely forgot Pandharpur and Panduranga. He was just serving his guru. And then Panduranga sends word and saying, hey, I'm waiting for you here. I sent you to the guru to learn lesson, but not to just permanently stay in your school. Come back home, come back. And finally, after a lot of persuasion by Panduranga, finally Namdev came back to Panduranga, but then his vision was completely different. He saw that this entire universe is nothing but the Lord. And so earlier he used to be always staying in the temple and around the temple and saying, and then being with Panduranga. But now, because the moment his vision expanded and he saw this entire universe as the Lord, he started spending more and more time meditating on the banks of Chandrabhaga River. Right? The Chandrabhaga River runs in Pandharpur. So he used to go and sit in the morning in bank of Chandrabhaga River. We find this entire Prakriti is the form of the Lord only. And he'll keep chanting Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, chanting Panduranga, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala, chanting, singing and meditating. Right? So meditate for some time. If the mind is not settling on meditation, then start chanting, right? Loud. And moment the mind is refreshed and the mind can again focus, again stop chanting and do meditation. So alternatively, meditation, chanting, the entire day he used to spend in Chandrabhaga River. And his wife, she used to come and search for him and come and give him food wherever he is. And he used to, and he considered his wife as a disturbance. Coming and feeding, coming and asking me to eat is a disturbance. So he started moving up more farther and farther along the river bank on Chandrabhaga, so that he can sit and do sing and meditate without getting disturbed by his family members. But then, of course, his wife cannot leave him like that. She has to feed him for lunch. So she had to travel longer and longer every day. And she, as usual, she complained to Panduranga. She said, hey, Panduranga, what is your friend Namdev doing? He's creating me trouble again. He is going and sitting so much farther, and I am having so much trouble searching for him all over the place. And finally, I find him sitting somewhere in some corner, very farther away. And every day he's going farther and farther, Panduranga. He's creating too much of trouble to me. You only should do something about your friend. These are like always the ways, your friend is doing this, you know. So Panduranga said, okay, do, I will do something. And so next day, when Namdev was sitting and meditating, his wife came and she kept the roti and in a bag. She said, "See, roti is there, and ghee is kept separately, and this chutney is there. You eat." He said, "Like, no, you go. I will eat." He said, "Like, no, I want to see you eat. Otherwise, you will not eat." He said, "Like, no, you go. I will eat." Then finally, he convinced her to leave, and he again went into meditation. Now, at that time, one dog came and it grabbed the roti and started running. And Namdev immediately took the rest of the bag and started chasing the dog. And the dog started running towards the Pandharpur temple, towards his house. And he chased the dog. And finally, like very near the temple, like he could catch hold of the dog. And everyone was wondering, what is this Namdev doing? Like, he became crazy fellow. Like, already he was crazy, and now looks like he's very crazy. And he caught hold of the dog, and then he told the dog, "Give that roti." He pulled the roti out of the dog's mouth, and then he didn't caught out the dog so that the dog doesn't run away. And then with his other hand, he put ghee on that roti, and then sprinkled some chutney on that, rolled it, and now you eat. See, if you eat without the ghee, then it will get stuck in your throat. So you should not eat the roti without ghee. It will get stuck in your throat, and you will then, where will you go for water? So eat now. And then he fed the dog the roti with ghee and the chutney. And then that form of the dog became the form of Panduranga. And then Panduranga said, "Hey, Namdev, you are identified that I am Panduranga." Namdev said, like, "Why? Like, you are always Panduranga only. Not only this dog, that dog is also you only. That dog is also you only. That person is also you only. This tree also you only. Everything is you only. What is a big wonder? What are you saying?" And then now the Lord was very happy that Namdev has established himself deeply in Vishwarupa Ishwara Darshana. Right? So this is a beautiful story. And then after that, Namdev still progresses further and he also becomes an Advaiti. That is how the progress of a devotee happens from Ekarupa Ishwara Bhakti to Vishwarupa Ishwara Bhakti to Advaita Bhakti. Right? So that is what we saw in that. So Namdev's life is a very, very good example of that the spiritual progress is given. And this seeing the Lord in all living beings is very, very common among the devotees of the Lord. There is already 8:30. Let me take a few more minutes. Like, there's a very beautiful story of Eknath also. Eknath Maharaj and his friends, they went to Kashi to worship the Lord. So the practice is they will take water from Ganga in Kashi and bring it to do Abhisheka to Panduranga here and in the Panduranga temple. So his friend, they had been carrying, right, like a few liters of Ganga Jal all the way from those days, like they had to walk only, right? So all the way from Varanasi to Pandharpur, they were walking, they were coming. Now, when they were coming a few miles before Pandharpur, the place was very, very dry and hot. And on the road, on the side of the road, there was one donkey which was lying down and it was in its last moments. And it was so thirsty that because of that, like, it was not able to give up its life also, right? So it was struggling. It was, at the last moment of its life. And everyone looked at the donkey and they were just going. Now, when Eknath saw the donkey, he immediately ran to the donkey, took the donkey on his lap, And then, hey, Panduranga, Panduranga, Panduranga. And then he poured the Ganga water into the donkey's mouth. And the donkey drank drank that water. And because now it could breathe easily because the throat was clear. And the donkey breathed its last. And on Eknath's lap only, the donkey left its life. And then Eknath patted the donkey and then prayed to Panduranga for that, and then asked the local people to dispose of the body, and then he continued. Now, whatever, say, every devotee would have carried some small amount of Ganga water, and whatever Ganga water Eknath had brought, he had given to the donkey. So the other people were scolding him. Hey, Eknath, so much distance we went and brought Ganga water to the Abhisheka for Panduranga. You just wasted that Ganga water by giving it to the donkey. And Eknath said, like, no, I gave it to Panduranga only. This donkey is also Panduranga only. And Eknath he was very clear. He did not see any difference. He was very convinced that he did the right thing. But others were not convinced. So when they went to the Panduranga temple, now when they went there, they could hear, Panduranga spoke to everyone saying, I have already received the Ganga Jal from Eknath and I am satisfied. I don't want any more Ganga Jal from any of you. And then they were shocked. So they said, like, what, you already received? Like, he doesn't have at all. He didn't even bring it. He has wasted it on a donkey. And Panduranga said, like, no. By giving the Ganga Jal to the donkey, Eknath has given me the Ganga Jal. Like, this is, and then they all realized that the truth of this, and then they asked for pardon, and then finally Panduranga accepted their Abhisheka also. So like this, there are so many stories, right? Even Raidas, right? And Gorakumbha, and even Bhadrachala Ramdas, Tulsidas, like all our saints' lives, if you read, everywhere you can see the essence of bhakti according to Gita. That, yes, you worship the Lord, right, in the puja room, using whatever, Panchopachara puja or Shodopachara puja, or as Gita says, right, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, right, using all these things, you worship the Lord. But that is only the beginning. You have to see the Lord in this entire universe, right? So in the 9th chapter, the shloka comes, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yome, Bhaktya, Prayaschati. The next shloka says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushu madarpanam. So whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever you do as yajna, dana, tapas, you offer it to me, right? So not only the puja which you do in the puja room, but every work you do, right? Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya. All the work you do to everyone goes to the Lord only, right? Whether you cook for your children in the house, or you go and buy some grocery for your house, or you do some work for your company, right? Or you help your neighbor, or you go and do some social service, or you go and do puja. Everything goes to the Lord only. He is the, right? Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam. Every activity, he is the Bhokta, because he is a Vishwarupa Ishvara. Now, this is the idea in the Gita, right? That the worship of the Lord in the puja room is only a preliminary practice. Through that practice, we need to prepare our mind to be able to see the Lord in this entire universe. This universe and the Lord are not different, right? Vishwarupa Ishvara. Vishwam yasya rupaha saha Vishwarupaha, right? So this Vishwa is the Rupa of the Lord, and by serving the people in this world, Shivajnane Jiva Seva, right? By serving people in this world, we are serving the Lord himself. And that is a higher form of worship than worship in the puja room. So, because many of us are not initiated into any form of ritualistic puja, we don't know all this Panchopachara puja, Shodashopachara puja, Yajna, Homa. We don't know any of these things, and no problem at all. treat this entire universe as the Yajna Kunda, and whatever action you offer is goes to the Lord Himself. So you don't need to know all the ritualistic puja. Like those are only preliminaries. Just right. Even Swami Vivekananda says, right, those who see Shiva only in the temple, it is only are only just the beginners, right? So seeing Shiva in this entire universe and in every jiva, right, and serving the jivas, that is a higher form of bhakti than doing worship in a temple or in a puja room. So treat this entire universe as the temple and every living being as the forms of Ishvara and serve them, help. So serve them, seeing Ishvara in everyone. So that is bhakti according to Bhagavad Gita. Right. So I think I'll stop here. We have already over time. So maybe I can take a couple of questions if anyone has. Let me open up. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask.
Gogul Mathu, this is Vishwatosh.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So you mentioned that the progress is like you worship the God in a kind of a, the personification you personify, and
Mm.
you worship the Ishta. Then you understand that God is everywhere, and then slowly you go to the Advaita stage. Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please complete.
uh, so this is like you have given examples also, like for Namdev and all.
Mm.
How about the worship in other religions? Let's say in Islam or Christianity, do you
Mm.
also see the same path in those devotees as well, among the Catholic saints as well as among the Sufis and all? I mean, what was your observation?
Yes. See, in the Bible, there is this parable of the goat and sheep. You can search for that. The parable of the goat and sheep. So, where Jesus says, he teaches that when you go to the judgment day, the the jivas who have come for judgment will be classified into two. On the left side will be the goats and the right side will be the sheep. And what he says is that people, and at that time, I will ask you, when I came hungry, when I came cold, when I came thirsty, you did not say, you did not feed me, you did not do serve me, and so you are on the left side. And people who served me when I came hungry, when I came thirsty, you will be on the right side. And then at that time you will ask, oh Lord, when did you come thirsty? When did you come that I did not serve you? And then I will reply that anyone who comes thirsty, anyone who comes hungry, it is me. And by feeding anyone who is thirsty, anyone who is hungry, you are feeding me. So this idea is there in the Bible. Okay. So in the Bible, this one is there, and it's called the parable of the sheep and the goat. Okay, sheep and the goats. You can look up. Now, coming to Islam, Islam tradition also has this. There is one famous Sufi poem called the poem of Abu Bakr, Abou Bhaktar, Abu Bhaktar. That also you can search. So Abu Bakr, he was a saint, and so he once goes to, in that poem, he goes to the Lord, and the Lord says he's preparing a list of his devotees. And then, so he goes and sees, and then he finds that his name is not there, and he is very sad. And then he goes home, and then on the way, like I think there is someone who is suffering, some poor person, and then he goes and helps and serves that person. And then next day he comes, and then he again looks at that list in which the Lord had prepared, the list of his devotees, and he finds his name on the top of that list. And then he asks, how come yesterday I didn't even find my name, and today my name is on the top? And the Lord says, yesterday night while going back home, you worshipped me in the form of that poor person. You know, so, but then Abu Bakr says, but I didn't even think of you when I worshipped him. Then the Lord says, like, no, no, even if you don't think of me, every time you serve a poor person, you are actually worshipping me. Now, this idea is there in the Sufi culture also. So you can search for Abu Bakr, right? There is a poem, it's a very popular poem. It's called Poem of Abu Bakr. So it is there in those traditions also, might not be as popular as in the Hindu tradition. In our tradition, like, we take it for granted, like Shiva Jnane Jiva Sheva, Makkal Seviye, Maheshan Seviye, Makkal Seviye, Maheshan Sevai, right? We don't distinguish between them. So, right? So, serving the Vishwarupa Ishvara concept is very popular and very deep rooted in the Hindu tradition. But we cannot say it is not there in other traditions. It is there in the Bible, it is there in the Sufi literature also, right? So now beyond that, I am not that familiar with those traditions. So maybe we should ask people of those traditions. But I know it is there.
Okay, nice examples, Google. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, good. So just remember this
Namaste
much.
ji.
Yes,
Namaste
yes.
ji, one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm seeing everything world only. Now only I'm hearing this everything is God, including air, sun, everything is God only. Now only.
Including people also.
Yes.
People are the best. Every
Yes.
human being is a
Then,
temple of God.
how can I practice it? By practical, இது எப்படி நடைமுறைக்கு நான் கொண்டு வரது by practice?
So, see, basically, like we say, Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarva Yagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam, right? So you serve people for the Lord's happiness, right?
Okay.
Understand?
Okay. Whatever I do, anything, everything, it's only goes to God only. It's a service to God. That's the way.
Yes.
Okay.
See, that is what we. The best way is if you go and do social service in the ashrams, right? If you go to Ramakrishna Math, okay, you go there and then you do some volunteering work, right? You meet the devotees there. You sweep the floor there. You serve food there, right? Like you do work.
Yes.
Now that is the practice for you, because we know that the ashram belongs to the Lord, and these are all devotees of the Lord. So when we suppose when we are talking to one devotee, like suppose let us say you are in the ashram and one person comes and says, madam, like which is the way to the chapel stand? Okay. Now how do you respond to that person? Because you are in the ashram and you know a person who has come to the ashram is a devotee, and that person is asking you which is the way to the chapel stand. So you will say, you will not scold that person, you will not treat that person with disdain. You will very reverentially, you will tell that person, you go this way, you go right, and there you can find the chapel stand. And you will even ask the person, do you want me to accompany you? The person will say, no, 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 it's okay, like I will take care. So now this is a training for you, right?
Okay.
So the way you behave in the ashram is a training for you. This entire universe is his ashram only, right? It is not that only ashram belongs to him, right? This entire universe belongs to him only. And not only the people whom you meet in the ashram, everyone in this universe, everyone in this world whom you meet, they are all his children only, right? Whether they know it or not, they are his children only. So what you practice and learn in the ashram, you have to expand outside the ashram, and you have to continue to follow that. It is easy for us to do it in the ashram. So that is the training ground. And then we have to carry that attitude outside the ashram also. Because this entire universe belongs to him only. There is nothing that does not belong to him. Everyone, the stranger whom you meet on the road is no different from a devotee whom you meet in the ashram. Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So this is the attitude. Ashram is a training place. After that, you have to carry that attitude to the entire world outside, because this entire world belongs to him only.
Okay,
Right?
Ji. Thank you, Ji.
Yeah.
Thank you. The great guidance. Thank you, Ji.
Namaste, sir.
Yes.
Even when we are doing this practice, but sometimes when the evil behavior characters are now watched, means we are not able to continue this, sir.
See, thing is, people, as I told last week, people do things because they think that is the right thing to do. So the mistake is in the understanding, not the intention. Okay. People do, if you look at us, right? If you look at our past, we have all done mistakes. We have done stupid things, we have done evil things also. But if you recall when we did it, you will remember that when we did that, we thought we are doing a very smart thing. We thought we are doing the right thing, or at least we thought chalta hai, it is okay to do it. Now the same rule you have to apply to others, right? So if someone is doing something, it is because he or she thinks that is the right thing to do, or at least he or she thinks it is not wrong to do. That is why a person does it. So now if you find someone doing something bad, like basically understand that that person has a different understanding than what you have. That's all. It is not an intention which is bad. It is the understanding which is different. Now, finally, whether you are right or that person is right, only time will tell. Okay. Even that is
Okay.
not sure.
Mm.
Right? You think now you have the right understanding and that person has the wrong understanding. But ultimately, time it might happen that that person was right and you are wrong. Right? So never judge things, right? Just that the understanding is different. So your priorities are different, your behavior is different. But then ultimately, who is right, who is wrong, the Lord alone knows. Right? So have that humility and everything will be fine. That is why the Gita says, Suduracharaha. Only the behavior is wrong. Right? But internally, everyone is sadhu only. Right? Good. Any other questions?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, send your recordings in the YouTube, sir, so that last week's
It is there.
you
Like,
have
it
sent
is there in
only
the
the
same
PDF.
list. No, it is there in the same list. I will send the playlist also again. Everything is in the same
Okay.
playlist. So it all
Okay.
gets added to the same playlist. So once you have
Okay.
already the link to the playlist, you just go to the playlist and see, you will find all the recordings there.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fine. Thank you. Good. I think we will end. We'll chant Om Shanti Shanti and we'll end. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Ram Krishna, Jai Ram Krishna.